over a couple of different things that we think of as facts and ask Dominic and Dr. Abbasi if they're fact or myth. I'm Amanda Armagas.
I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence.
Dominic Moore.
Okay, we have 10 questions. We're going to start with, can you catch a cold from air conditioning or cold drinks? And by the way, this is summer theme.
Okay, Dominic, what do you think?
I think you can maybe increase your chances, but not directly, unless you got mold in the air conditioner or something.
That's true. Yeah, the mold part.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe then it's not like a cold. It's something different.
There are some diseases that we figured them out, and they appear like cold, like Legionnaire disease. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, the pneumonia, the one
Yeah.
really
Very
specifically
weird.
associated with water and all that other crazy stuff.
Yes. What do you know about Legionnaire disease?
Pretty much those things I said. Also, some
Yeah.
potassium abnormalities.
Yeah. So Legionnaire disease is that it was this old veterans. They came together in a hotel somewhere, I think in New Mexico. I'm not sure. All of them, or many of them, got sick. As we do, CDC does a good job on finding out what is going on. The symptoms were very similar to like a flu or influenza, maybe severe influenza. And then they found out that in the air conditioning of that hotel, there are these special bugs that they vaporize and then they are distributed. And guess what? What these veterans had all common, they were older people. So
More fragile.
more fragile. Now, what is important is that there are two kind of respiratory diseases in their expression. Especially, there's obviously Legionnaire disease was a bacterial infection, not a viral infection. But the symptoms are very similar. So I think this question is a two-parter. You can say that, no, obviously you don't get a common cold.
Because a cold is a virus.
Generally, what we call a cold, common cold, is a virus. But it's a category. And in medicine and in science, we categorize the viruses. We go, you are a common cold, you are influenza, you are this and that, you are COVID, you are SARS, and so on. Those viruses, they don't really care. They have all variation of genetic abnormalities. They use all possible pathways to establish themselves in our body and so on and so forth. So they are not like, I'm American, you're Chinese kind of viruses. But what we know is generally the reduced immune capacity make people prone to have this kind of disease. Now, something that we know as a matter of fact, if the air becomes more dry, our mucosa in our entire respiratory system becomes drier, and the viruses can penetrate through this drier mucosa of our respiratory system easier. So there's a reason we call it he caught a cold, because we have observed over 1,000 of years, if you're in winter, if you go out there and you're not protected, when you come back, it's more likely you get cold. So
isn't it also like if you're in AC or if you're indoors, you're in a more confined space, so it's more likely for things to spread?
So there's actually a graph of humidity. There's something called dew point, meaning that at what level water vapor in the air become a solid and drop. We know that if colder air is usually drier. This is just a fact. So coming back to that, it's not that the AC gives you the disease, but it's not disconnected either. Number one, yes, there are some disease like Legionnaire that AC is giving you the disease by vaporizing and giving you. Those are usually, I think, in 2025, probably, right? And what was specific about that Legionnaire disease is that was a very old kind of system that was literally vaporizing the air and water to cool the air, and then that cool air with the vaporized water was this being distributed. These days, we don't have system like that, at least not in the United States like that. In Iran, we had that thing that literally the air get vaporized and then recirculate, and then that air with the humidity get distributed and so on. So we don't do that in the United States anymore. We have chillers that use the water or some other chemicals, but they don't mix the air that comes to the living spaces with that water or material that get help that air to become cool. So we have separated that. So the first part, can air conditioning giving you that thing? Yeah, Amanda is saying enough.
I'm ready for the next one, actually.
No, the second part, the answer is yes. The cold weather can give you can you make you more prone to
Yeah, but the
Common
question
cold.
was cold drinks, not cold weather.
AC. It was AC as well.
Air conditioning and cold drinks.
Okay, now cold drinks, I don't believe so.
Okay, so the answer is yes or no. Can you catch a cold from air conditioning and cold drinks?
From air conditioning, yes. From cold drinks, I don't believe so.
You're swimming in the cold drinks, maybe for long periods of time. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
Now, another thing is, no, you see, that's why I don't like this thing. There are so many nuances to that. No, cold drink, it just, I don't believe so. But when we cool down your body,
yeah.
what happens when we cool down your body? All chemical processes slow down,
Mhm.
including your immune process. As a matter of fact, fever is our immune process to make our immune cell more active, because by the time we are at 42 Celsius or 104, as a matter of fact, our immune active is 4 times, that those chemical processes are 4 times faster, and we are better to catch those bugs and kill them. Our immune system is more potent, but as well, many of those bacteria, they just die at that
Yep,
temperature.
can't handle it.
So when you go backward, meaning that you are in cold water, you're slowing it down. Yes, the answer to that is yes, but cold drink, no. You see, there's
Okay, but
The cold drink is the drop. In
the
bucket,
question
you
was
know?
the drinks.
okay.
Truth or myth? You don't need sunscreen on cloudy days.
I'm gonna go with myth. You definitely would. If the UV index is still high, then you're still getting radiated.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so what kind of UV do we have? UVA, UVB, right?
Okay.
What's the difference?
I don't know. I didn't know there was an
Okay.
UV.
Okay. So we know that many of the UV radiation get absorbed when you go, even if you go to a glass. Like these glasses I have, they're also photochromic, meaning that if you have UV radiation on that, some pigments become darker and absorb more of the sun. So if I go with these glasses outside, it becomes like a sunglass because it absorbs certain amount of UV, and then the pigment turn color, and then it absorbs the regular light. Okay. But if I'm in the car, it doesn't. Even the sun is coming, because what it needs is the UV part of the light to do that thing. It's good part of the UV radiation is absorbed when it goes through any medium, water vapor, cloudy, and so on. But to my best knowledge, the part that it really hurt us still goes through.
80%
Okay.
still goes
It's
through the
a
clouds.
good part. 80% is a good part.
Yeah, so still wear sunscreen. Even if you have melanin, you still should be wearing sunscreen.
Especially if you do, because then it's harder to find melanoma.
Exactly. Okay, the next statement is truth or myth. Scratching a mosquito bite makes it worse. You know all about mosquito bites.
Yeah, they love me. No, well, truth or myth, mosquito really prefer certain people.
They do
Truth.
indeed. They do
Truth.
indeed.
I'm one
Okay.
of them. Mosquitoes love me.
Well, no. When we are there, they always come to me.
I don't
So
think, no, when they're there, they go to you first and they're like, oh my gosh, even more delicious. And then they go to me.
It's based on
Okay.
blood type.
Yeah, I heard that.
Do you know what are your blood types?
okay, well, and I
is your-
don't know. I'm O positive.
You can donate to me.
Yeah. No, I think there is a fact to that mosquitoes are attracted to some people, But as well, I think it's one step beyond that. I think some people react harsher to mosquito bites than the others.
My brother Zach reacts really bad to mosquito bites. He's had to go to the hospital
Mhm.
Oh,
for mosquito
And
bites
then
because he couldn't
obviously-
walk.
Obviously, if you don't
Wow.
react to that, you get bitten and you don't even know.
Mm.
If you react to that, 2 bites keep you awake all night long. Then, so I think it's a combination. So there is, actually, for some reason, it seems that these mosquitoes are attracted to sexual pheromones. And when we look at that, why would the mosquito be attracted to human sexual pheromones? You know what pheromones are, right?
Yeah.
What are pheromones? Tell me.
So they're kind of like the hormones you produce, sort of signal other people to release
The
more hormones in
chemical
their
signal-
body.
Okay, it's a chemical signal that makes. There is a saying in German. I'm not sure if you said in English. I cannot smell that guy, or I cannot smell him, meaning that his smell, he's just being around irritates me.
Huh.
Do you say anything like that in English?
No.
Mm-mm.
We say I can't stand that person.
Yeah, but in German you say, I cannot smell that guy. Okay. It is, as a matter of fact, we have found that the sexual attraction, a big part of it is actually chemicals that some of them we cannot say we smell them. We don't really smell them, but our psyche, our brain still smell them. And it is based on actually for your HDL molecule be furthest away from each other.
Really?
So this is what they did. The study they did. They let this young man work out, and then put their shirt in a jar, and women come and smell it and then rate it. Obviously, if the women are ovulating, they rate it higher. The same smell that disgusting to them 2 weeks later, they're totally attracted to that. And then what they did, they checked their HLA molecule. HLA molecules are molecules that mix on your surface of your immune system and make your immune system practically work. They found out, and that's the beauty of nature, furthest away your HLA molecules are, meaning that your children have more variation of HLA molecule, more attracted you are to that smell.
That makes sense.
They slipped a shirt of a father or a brother into that mix. Every woman found that disgusting. So you see this, our behavior is, a lot of our behaviors are based on our natural, how the nature set us up to be. And that makes sense. We know that incest generally doesn't produce strong offspring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So coming back to that, why do female mosquito bite? Male don't.
Nope.
Okay. Why do female mosquitoes are attracted to me?
Oh my gosh.
I will be honest, just as a tangent, I'm from
I'm
Florida.
that lucky. I'm that lucky.
You guys, I'm sorry, but the question was about does scratching it make it worse?
Okay, but that is first you have to get bitten before you get
Yes.
scratched.
Yes or no?
Okay.
Look, you
so-
can't ask me if I like
Okay.
sunny side up eggs or scrambled. I got to talk about the chicken.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
So,
him. That's him. 1 million years ago, when mosquitoes were the only thing on the planet.
but exactly.
No.
600 million years ago, nature used the same chemical stuff to attract human. Why would nature doesn't use the same thing? So the same thing that makes some woman be attracted to me makes some female mosquito attracted
If
to
I
me.
was the mosquito's dad, would it leave me alone? You think? Would it
Yeah,
probably
it
ignore me
would.
if I was the
Probably.
mosquito's father?
You'd be
Okay.
so
Problem,
safe. You'd
problem.
be beyond
So
safe.
scratching, yes, scratching make it worse. Why? Because when you're scratching any area, no, scratching is a physiological reaction to get rid of the whatever is still causing problem. Inflammation starts there, and when we scratch that, we destroy the tissue and we spread more immune material around.
Eosinophils everywhere.
And so the answer to your question is yes, but
But why is it itchy?
why is it itchy? Well, it's actually a kind of immune reaction because the mosquito just wants your blood.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do they leave anything there when they suck your blood?
Well, mosquito wants your blood but blood has a property of coagulate, meaning that it stops flowing
Mm.
when there's a hole there. So mosquito found out, hey, why don't have something like an anticoagulant
Mhm.
that the blood doesn't, and
Yeah.
they actually like a needle. They insert
Mhm.
that needle.
Mhm.
They put material to make sure the blood is not coagulating because they want it, to have
Mhm.
more of it.
Yeah, a little mosquito
So
apixaban.
And that is how mosquito give you as well diseases while you're injecting whatever anticoagulant. By the way, Tom, we should patent whatever mosquito have and as anticoagulant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get that material and make it as a.
Yeah, could be nice and local. Right
Well,
there.
we are using snake venom as a medicine
Indeed.
You're using
Reptiles?
pigs as training.
and so on. So the answer to that is yes.
This one is a childhood classic. It's going to be a kind of a quick answer. Does eating watermelon seeds make a watermelon grow in your stomach?
No, that's where babies come
Thank you.
from.
Why would people think that? Why would people think that eating, like, is there any seed that doesn't need light that would actually like start
No,
growing
no
in your
seed
body?
needs light to
Mm.
grow.
They grow in the darkness.
They grow in the darkness. And some seeds, I think this comes from some seeds need the harsh change of environment, and that initiates. Like I want to use something that nature has. Have you seen when the male lion bites
No, I have
the
not.
neck of the female lion to make them ovulate?
Nope.
Something like that exists as well in nature. That some seeds they need to go through a very hard. As a matter of fact, some seeds they need fire.
Mm.
But some-
Yes. I don't know what they are, but like that's one of the ones that after a forest burns down, you'll see those ones sprouting out like crazy.
because look at that, nature's beautiful. It says everything else is burned, the field is free.
Mhm.
So the fire actually initiates. They have a very thick, shell,
Germ cell there.
and then it cracks, and then fire is over. No other plants is there that can compete with them. They go. So it might go in that direction that but I don't believe that watermelon can grow in your stomach.
No, I don't think so. But I think there are some seeds that need to be eaten by an animal and pooped out to grow.
But that is intended.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
That is absolutely intended. Well, that is why
That's
plants
fruit.
give us fruit anyways.
Mhm.
There's actually certain coffee that people love that is only made by coming out of the poop of a koala.
There's a little guy in
Mm.
Brazil named Capi Luwak.
Yeah,
Okay.
that.
They
yesterday-
I could talk about that a lot.
Okay, yes.
My passion.
Okay. Now, I know that for all of us, is anything that comes from the other end is yucky, but in nature, that is a very valid way of producing lots of stuff, not only coffee.
Yeah.
Like gorillas, I just saw a TikTok yesterday. Gorillas, they eat it twice.
Same with rabbits.
Rabbit eats their own poop as
No?
well.
Yeah.
I know your dog eats rabbit poop,
She
but
loves poop. All poop.
all poop.
Also, I think, forgive me if I'm mistaken, but I think a lot of mascaras are made out of bat poop.
I gotta go
Mm.
check my mascara.
Well, not my mascara.
yeah.
So you buy poop free.
Because my mascara is like octopus poop.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's a little bit more serious. Dehydration only happens when visibly sweating. Fact or myth?
Absolutely wrong.
No,
Myth. Huge myth.
Absolutely wrong.
No.
Because
you can
See-
expel water so many other ways.
well, and you don't even need to do anything to get
Mhm.
dehydrated. You just need a balance. You get fluid, you get rid of fluid every time. Now, when you have dinner, people think most of the time that you get rid of the dinner when you go and poop, or they think, oh, the dinner what you get, you go and pee out the fluid of it. About 70 to 80% of the water you get inside of you, you breathe it out.
Yeah, and same
Yeah.
with losing weight. Your weight loss is actually done through breath, not through. People think it's through sweat, but it's through breath.
Yeah. Well, sweating is a extraordinarily effective way of cooling you down.
Can you talk about dry heat? Talk about
What do you want to know about dry heat?
I want them to know about dry heat.
What do you want them to? What do you guys want to know about dry heat?
About how like you don't always sweat in dry heat, but you can become extremely dehydrated.
No,
Hmm.
that's not true that you don't sweat in dry heat. You sweat the same amount, but because it's very dry, the coefficient of that water on your skin become fluid
Mhm.
is so good that it immediately becomes a
Yeah.
vapor, and you don't see the sweat.
Mhm. You
Because
just dry
sweat-
out faster.
Yeah.
Now, the sweat that you see is not the sweat that comes out because that macroscopic. That is literally so little.
Mhm.
The sweat that you see is inefficiency when you're in an environment that you that fluid here doesn't go to the air,
Mhm.
doesn't cool you down, then the accumulate becomes like a droplets.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times for sweat you see like a sheen before you even see the droplet. 'Cause
Sure.
it's just
Yeah.
collecting.
Now,
Makes sense.
the physics is beautiful because see to create, let's say, to get the water from frozen or almost frozen, not frozen, from almost frozen, like
Like
cold water
slush.
to the point that it's almost starting to boil. Let's say you use X amount of energy, just from go from 100 degrees Celsius or 220
12.
something, 212 degree Fahrenheit water to 212 degree water vapor or steam.
Mm.
You use 3 times more energy.
What about like the effect of alcohol and caffeine on dehydration?
Well, we know that no.
Hmm.
Number one, these are two different mechanisms, but no, alcohol get burned in our body. Anything that get burned in our body uses water. So alcohol, let's say one atom of alcohol uses probably 2 atom of water,
Mm.
and you breathe it out. Now caffeine is as well a stimulant, but as well it makes your kidneys work
Yeah.
harder. It gets rid of more water. These are two different mechanisms, but yes, both of them they do dehydrate you.
Mhm.
So yes or no, dehydration only happens when you're visibly sweating.
Obviously, wrong. That's false.
What about this one? This is, I think, a huge misconception, a huge myth. A base tan protects you from a sunburn. And I'll explain why people think this.
I don't
What,
know.
do you
You
mean
guys-
by base?
Yeah, let me explain. So, for example, a lot of times when white people go to Mexico or go to Florida or somewhere-
When I see how they are walking around.
No, let me just say it. When white people with less melanin go to a place that has a high, like a lot of sun,
Mhm.
they go to the tanning salon first because they want to get a base tan.
Hmm.
Because a lot of white people, like for example me, I know this isn't true.
Oh, this is that spray?
No, it's a base tan. So you go and you get tan first because the idea is that if you get tan first, you won't get sunburned because you already got tan.
Oh,
Mm.
so they
That's the
go
idea.
to under
Oh.
a machine that
The tanning booth, they go to the tanning bed, get a base tan, and then they believe that they won't tan.
Gotcha. So
Or
I
they
sear
won't
my
sunburn.
steak before I put it in the oven so it doesn't dry out. That's the idea, kind of something like that.
Maybe.
I have no facts. I don't really know. I don't believe it. I
Yeah.
don't think it changes it. I feel like that skin is just getting punched and damaged.
Okay.
That's why it gets tan, and then it's just going to get more damaged.
okay, well, it's not that easy.
Hmm.
Okay, now when we get the UV from the sun, it comes in a various range.
Hmm.
Some of those are more dangerous for our skin, meaning that they have more energy. As a matter of fact, higher frequency, they have more energy to break our DNA and cause sunburn
Mhm.
and so on, or similar damages.
Yeah.
But by the way, it is so common that we have an internal mechanism of our DNA to specifically prevent that. And obviously, skin color is exactly that.
Mhm.
Okay, now the problem with that is sun sent it in all variation. Okay, and but not all frequencies have the same effect on our DNA. Now, I can imagine that you get certain radiation level that is less damaging to our DNA, and that initiate that cascade of creating a tan.
Hmm.
But once you have tan, you get under the sun, you get all level, all things. Then you will be more protected. But the problem there is, you see, all these things they don't understand that life comes in so many variation. Life, our DNA, our tanning comes in so many variation that some people may get tan with that frequency and create that, and many people may don't get that. So it is more complex than that. So I say it is possible to, for a specific genetic composition, to create that they get tan with the radiation, with the UV radiation that is less damaging, and then when you go under the regular sun you get less damaged. But uh, generalizing it, I think, it's a far-fetched.
So according to what I have, a tan is already skin damage, and it provides
Hmm.
only minimal protection.
Tan is not skin damage.
When my skin gets
Well,
tan,
when you get tan,
Yeah.
generally,
when people get
have
tan,
you seen these whiteys? When they get tan, they get like a pink, like a roasted pig.
yeah,
Is it like
that's what
tan?
we're talking
That's
about.
not tan. That roasted pig
Getting
is
your
not.
you're changing your skin color, getting your skin darkened tan.
Have you seen when I tan? Literally, you see that here. It's just the color changes.
Hmm.
Okay, we'll double check it.
Actually, one of the fun reasons that I know I'm mixed is that I don't really get pink when I get sun damage.
you go.
I just get darker.
Yes, a tan is a sign of skin damage. Here's why. When your skin is exposed to ultraviolet radiation from the sun or tanning beds, it triggers a cell in the skin to produce more melanin, the pigment that darkens your skin, your body's way of trying to protect deeper layers from further damage.
Okay, well, I say tanning is a natural mechanism to reduce the damage, is not the damage itself.
I say the skin that you're born with is the skin that you're born with.
And I don't know.
I say if you're white, don't go to Mexico, try to get tanned. Yeah, if the nature wanted to give you tan, it would have already.
We're born with the melanin we have for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, natural or organic sunscreens are always safer. Fact or myth?
I want to add something to the tanning.
Add something to the tanning.
If you're absolutely white, choose a partner that has natural melanin to make your children, at least you can protect your children against.
Yeah, that is true.
Encourage genetic diversity. Let's do it.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, still wear sunscreen and protect yourself because
Okay.
it's still your skin and it's still going to get damaged. So, fact or myth? Natural sunscreens or organic sunscreens are always safer, and the word is always.
I feel like this is such a mixed bag. I'm a big proponent of a lot of things that are not organic are probably better than organic. You know, we engineered it. You know, if it was going to work good enough just coming out of a coconut, why would we change it?
Yeah.
So certain
So,
things.
you want to say something too, or should I?
Oh yeah. Before you start, no,
Before you
natural,
start.
natural/organic sunscreens are not always safer, and that comes from a natural and organic girl. I do wish that they were, but I agree with Dominic. We put in certain chemicals for a reason. For example, a lot of hippies like me want to wear coconut oil on our skin instead of sunscreen, or olive oil on our skin instead of sunscreen. And I personally, Dr. Abbasi can go into more details on this, but I don't think that that's a good idea. I think that if you want to be protected from the sun, you're going to have to make a little bit of a sacrifice. Wear a mineral sunscreen or something like that with a very high SPF, but do not put coconut oil on your skin expecting to not get sunburned, because you will.
I will just quickly, I swear. When I was in the 6th grade, I had a science project of trying to cook chicken tenders outside in a little UV oven. I covered them in coconut oil and they turned out pretty crispy. So, I don't know if that's the best
Yeah.
sunscreen.
Yeah, right.
So, few general things. Anything in life starts with always or never.
Is not
It's
true.
almost always.
It's
almost
never
always.
true.
It's almost always wrong.
Yeah.
Anything like, is it possible? No, and anything that starts with possible no matter how outlandish it is,
It is
the answer is
possible.
always yes. Like, is it possible that the alien just landed on Highway 13 just next to us?
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't know, but it is
Go
possible.
I have a few
right?
ideas of not possible, but I won't
No,
say
no, no,
them.
but you see that there. So,
Is it possible to do a podcast without Dr. Abbasi going back 1 million years?
0.1% chance.
It is
0.001% chance. No. And, and this is one of the philosophical thing I want to say. Possible, the answer is almost always yes. Never, always, the answer is almost always no.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's come back to the other one. Is everything natural, organic, bio? Is it better?
Not
Well,
always.
Venom is very biologic, you know.
Very
No,
natural.
sharks are very natural.
My shark sunscreen.
when they cut you in half, or elephants are very, you know,
Yeah.
very biologic, very natural, and so on. If you go close to them, they stomp you to death, especially African elephant.
Hmm.
Now, I will go only 40,000 years back to say why African elephant are so nasty, whereas Asian elephant are so mellow. Why? No, okay. Why are African elephant?
No,
How did you get there?
I-
Have to do with sunscreen.
No, I care more about this.
No, I'm cooked.
Yeah. This, please, I want to know this.
I'm
Okay,
curious.
so African elephant kill you more likely than lion or snake or anything else, whereas Asian elephant are the sweetest thing you can have in the entire planet. Did you know when 40,000 years ago through Siberia, it was a land bridge. When people came to Alaska and then populated the Americas, we had a lot of megafauna, meaning that
Mhm.
those big animals, the huge animals, zero of them exist now.
Yep.
All of them, we literally ate them. We ate them all. Like, you ate them all. Probably,
Hey, I'm just saying,
probably those genes. that
dire
are-
wolf, just tasty. What do you want?
No,
Woolly
no,
mammoth.
no. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about sloths that are size of an elephant. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, yeah.
Woolly mammoth.
Woolly mammoth is we know about that, but there were lots of big animals. Now, why did these big animals, the 5 bigs in Africa, survived, but not in America? The reason for that is those big animals in Africa, they grew up with, they co-evolved with human to know if I see you, I'm going to kill you. Stay away from me. Those mellow ones got eaten. When human came to Americas, this megafauna, they didn't have any
Mhm.
natural enemies. And when they saw a human, who's that little
Probably
thing?
thought it was
And
cute.
yeah, cute. And then they start munching on the
Hmm.
grass again. And then those little things, they got
Arrows.
together and then
Mhm.
killed them and ate them all. Now, elephant has been everywhere, but elephant in Asia, they got exposed to human later, so they didn't have natural. They didn't see human as their natural
Hmm.
enemies. Whereas the elephant in Africa, they knew it's going to eat me, so I'm going to stamp him to death. So, and that is what were we talking about? Natural.
Natural or organic sunscreen.
Okay, natural. Well, what is in sunscreen that absorb the UV light? 9 out of 10 times is a bismuth or bismuth, compound.
What
I
is
believe.
that?
Bismuth is an element.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
an element?
It- It's in a lot of things,
different
like,
element, but
Where
titanium.
does it
Sometimes
come from?
titanium oxide
Where do you get it?
from Earth.
It's like bismuth is like iron, but
Oh,
like
okay.
less, more rare, and like just
Sure.
kind of.
No,
mixed
there are
everything,
different salts,
Mm.
meaning salt is always a metal and a halogen
Mm.
that they absorb this. They have this compensity to
Mm.
absorb the UV light. The titanium is the one that they use just in people's back,
Mhm.
and they don't exist naturally in the future in the nature.
Yeah, they're mixed with stuff.
So you have to get them.
Mm.
So whatever process you get them, they make it not bio. Okay, we pour acid on them. We distill them, we do this and that and so on. So the answer to that is no, that's not true.
Okay.
That everything natural always better.
Well, the sorry, but the
like-
question was natural or organic sunscreens are always safer.
Look, if the
No.
natural sunscreen is like an umbrella or a giant helmet over my skin or something,
Right.
okay, sure. But
The natural
otherwise,
sunscreen's a tree. Okay. Fact or myth? Eating ice cream cools you down.
I think why is
yeah.
it why even the question? Eating ice cream will
Yeah.
cool you.
Well,
cool
the reason
you.
why it supposedly is partially a myth is because it does feel refreshing, but your body may work harder to digest it and maintain the same internal temperature.
No, but see,
Mm.
when we talk about cooling you down, we're talking about immediate effect. So immediate effect of having anything cold inside of you is going to cool you down. Like, I'm not sure if you have noticed. Have you been in Europe?
Only when I was a child.
Okay, you have been in Europe, yeah. When you go and ask for water, they don't put ice in your
No.
water
Nope.
because generally Europe is cooler than
Mm.
most of Americas and Middle East and so on. If you go to Iran or anywhere Arab countries, when they give you water, there will be always
A
ice
lot
in your
of
water.
ice.
Mm.
Always, almost always. Same like in US.
Mm.
And um and there's a reason for that. Cooling down is a huge part of our biology.
Mm.
Now, anything cool inside of you is going to cool you down.
But how long does the ice cream stay cool inside of you?
Not very long, but
Mm.
neither ice, neither sweating, neither so on.
Mm.
So I'm totally that. Now, what it does in 2 hours, that's a different story.
Mm.
Well, like anything that energy, when you burn energy, it makes you hotter.
Yeah.
Now, contrary to cold water, ice has energy. That in 2 hours it's going to, but that you might as well say that about anything else, like sometimes.
Well, you know, sometimes people in hot climates drink hot soup to cool themselves down.
No,
Foolish. How dare they? How dare they?
see, there are different factors. There's like some people say, oh, it's much better to drink hot tea.
When
So
it's hot.
it's about fluid. That at the end of the day is about you get fluid in you, you're well hydrated, you can sweat better, and so on. It's not that the hot tea.
What about
cools you
people
down.
eating? People say that if you eat spicy food, it cools you down.
Maybe because you're just sweating.
Sweat?
Yeah.
Some people can sweat. It's about it is just has so many variation of you have how much fluid is coming in, how much fluid going out, how much are you sweating, how breathing. Like dogs, they don't have
Mm.
sweat glands. They pants because of the they can get rid of the hot air from their lung, and then you see the tongue is
Mm.
hanging
Yeah.
down.
Same
and
with
so
in
on.
yoga, they say if you're hot, breathe out of your mouth.
Yeah. So it's a complex thing, but there's no question physiologically, if you put anything cool in you, it's going to immediately cool you down.
It's interesting you said that about ice in Europe versus Iran because in India they don't put ice in the water. Remember, they don't put ice really. You have to kind of ask for it.
Is it because ice is like the rarity of the resource? I don't know.
I'm guessing. I don't know. My guess is just because ice melts so fast and it's like so hot.
Well,
but-
I believe hot drinks should be outlawed in Florida. Everything has to come with ice there. So I don't know.
Florida's weird in general.
Iced
sometimes.
tea, iced coffee.
It's all good.
You know, iced
It's all
tea-
better.
Iced tea was invented in the U.S. At one of those horse racing tracks.
What was 150 years ago or 200 years ago the most important export of New England?
Isn't that just tea leaves?
No, ice.
Ice?
Yeah, they would go and cut the ice from the lakes and then put it in wagon and send it
I
south.
love that.
And then they would deliver once a year ice or twice a year, maybe once a year ice from New England.
Hmm.
And then they would put it in cellars.
And didn't people keep it in straw or something like that?
Yes, they put the straw and that is beautiful thing. They if you put straw in water and then it freezes because it's cold, that takes 10, 20 times longer to melt.
Really?
Yes. As a matter of fact, sawdust.
Hmm.
U.S. Marine actually they built an artificial, like a platform from ice. It was so thick, so big. German submarines, U-boats, they couldn't sink it. It was just they could just put the biggest torpedo and just make a small little dent. But how do you keep that longest floating? They froze water and sawdust. It becomes indestructible. So yeah, that's true. They're putting straw in the water and letting it freeze and makes it last 20 times longer. But then obviously they use it as straw as well as the insulator
Yeah.
while they're transporting. But try that. Go next time, some sawdust in the water.
I'm gonna see if I have sawdust at home tonight.
Yeah.
I have some. Come get it.
Tina, don't check the freezer.
Okay. Clear urine means you're perfectly hydrated. Fact or myth?
I mean, it's certainly better than dark. But I mean,
why is it better than dark?
Well, dark just means it's so overly concentrated.
What if you
What
just
is
got
it?
a vitamin B?
You see that
But-
the color of the urine is not just about the concentration, it's about tons of other things that
What you ate.
what
and
you
stuff.
ate, what
Yeah,
is your
yeah.
other things in your body and so on. But yes, generally, if you disregard everything else, then darker urine is more concentrated urine. But that is necessarily not right or wrong, good or bad, and so on. Your body, as a matter of fact, you can say lighter urine. That means you are overhydrated. Your
Yeah.
sodium is your body is trying to keep you alive by getting rid of the water.
Yeah, you could have
Your
diabetes
body-
insipidus and just be flushing everything out.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Clear,
So
clear.
I think that statement that is one is healthier than the other is absolute nonsense. But what the fact is, the color of the urine is not only is not only indication for the urine concentration, but even if it was, that by itself is not a good or bad sign. It's just your body concentrated that's the beauty of it.
So, myth. Clear urine does not mean overhydration, or clear urine does not mean you're perfectly hydrated. This is the last one, and I'm going to explain it to you a little bit before you answer. You have to wait 30 minutes. Dominic knows about this. You have to wait 30 minutes after eating to swim. And the idea is that if you swim before 30 minutes after eating, you might get a cramp and drown.
Mhm.
I'm sure you were around a lot of pools and
Yeah. You only wait 30 minutes if you're a coward. Got it.
agree.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're going to restrict some of the blood flow to your stomach so digesting. It's the same thing like swimming or if you go for a run after a meal or something like that. You know, anything that's going to demand that blood flow that would otherwise help you digest, you'll cramp. But, you know, it's a little discomfort. You know, you can get over it.
Just pay attention to how you're feeling.
Exactly.
What's your
Well, have you seen snakes? Let's go 100 million years back.
Actually, I
Okay.
recently saw a pregnant
So what do
snake,
they
a
what do
snake
this
protecting her
what do
eggs.
what do the snake do after they eat?
Big nap.
Big nap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big nap.
Mhm.
Weeks nap sometimes. Okay.
Wow.
So they eat. They are cold blooded. They
Mhm.
don't burn as much as us.
Yeah.
So what happened to you when you have a meal? Not even a big meal, any
I'm
meal.
so tired after I eat.
So why don't I ever have lunch? Because I
Probably-
cannot be tired.
Yeah.
I have to go through once I'm done with the work, then I have my big meal and
Actually,
I get tired.
very American of me, but I I like to eat dinner on the couch so I can just chill after. Lay down.
Why even go there? Just eat dinner in bed.
That's, I do. That's my midnight snack. My midnight snacks in bed.
So obviously, when you have food inside of you, it has to
Mhm.
get digested. It get digested by your body diverting your blood flow there.
Mhm.
So where it doesn't get blood flow, your other muscle, your brain, and so on. So you get tired. I think that what you are talking about applies to any exercise or activity, not just to swimming.
Well, no, the idea, like, that's why I wanted to explain it a little bit more, is if you swim after eating, you might get a cramp and drown. That's like the swimming part,
Mm.
the
Uh-huh.
drowning.
The drowning.
I don't know why something's so funny to me about the visual of swimming and then just oh
I know. You can't see that much.
yeah, you just that's it.
Like, how deep is the water even?
2 feet. I'm done.
Where are
I
you?
think that part is a myth, but
But you should
Ju-
wait.
you should and I would say even longer than 30 minutes. I would say, wait an hour or
Yeah, an
two.
hour
I
to
mean,
two. Yeah.
what's the why would you eat and go for a run? Or why?
Well, sometimes you catch the prey and you just eat it right there on the
But what-
spot.
Or
you know?
if you're having a pool day and you got out of the pool to have a sandwich, now you want to go back in the
No.
pool.
Well, that is going to the pool to exercise is something different than just going there relax.
No, okay. So when I was little, I would go to my grandma's house, and my grandma had a pool, and
You're
we would,
not little anymore.
and we would swim. It was in Florida, and we would swim all day.
It's
and
all
we would have to
Florida.
Come
A
out.
Florida man. Florida
It's the only
woman.
place we
Okay.
got water.
Is it clean? We had to come out of the pool and have lunch, and then my grandma would not let us back into the pool for 30 minutes.
Yep, your grandma needed some medical advice, I guess.
No, it's not just that, but actually, I've heard that you should take a walk after dinner to help digest. So I'm kind of hearing that that's not true.
It's not
No,
like
we're
vigorous
talking-
walk. You know, is different from the
Yeah.
walk, right?
No, but you don't have to stop living. We are talking about jogging,
Mhm.
exercise,
But will
heavy
walking-
activity.
Will walking after eating help your food digest?
I don't know about help digest. It might help push it past the duodenum faster because you're just kind of getting things moving. But
No, I don't believe it
yeah, I don't think it
does.
does much.
These are two different things.
Yep.
I think it's the same reason, like walking can maybe help you have a bowel movement kind of methodology, but I don't think
No,
there's a
but
lot
no,
of
but
them.
walking or being upright has a huge impact. Gravity. Okay,
Mhm.
so as a matter of fact, when our patient after the surgery they are on narcotic and so on, and they don't pass gas and so on,
Mhm.
sometimes we say,
Take
Get
a
up.
walk.
get up,
Ooh,
move.
compress,
Yeah.
compress your intestines. Yeah, get going.
Yeah.
Stretch it out.
Okay, that was Factor Myth Summer Medical Edition. I'm Amanda Armagost.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for millions of years.
Yeah, I'm Dominic for at least 27.
Have a good day, guys.